Hey, my second grade friends, it's Mrs. Real here with another lesson on plants. So the last plant lesson that we did, I read to you our funny story of tops and bottoms where Hare tricked Bear into letting him use his land and Bear didn't do any work because he didn't do any work anyway, but Hare got all the vegetables, all the good parts of the vegetables to feed his family and keep them going. And then after that one, I took you out on a field trip to my garden, and we went and harvested some of my vegetables, the ends of the stuff that was left over from my winter garden, and we got some lettuce that was the tops, and we picked some carrots that were the bottoms. I showed you all my herb garden, so we got the rosemary and the stuff where we pick the leaves and we use those parts when we cook. And I told you I was harvesting all that so that I could make a salad for dinner. And so here's a picture of the salad that I made for dinner that night. We ate off of that actually for a couple of nights, and then I still have some more extra lettuce in there. So today I have another plant story for you. Oh, we also got to look at the eggs in the chicken coop. But today I have another plant story for you. And then after I'm done with this one, I will be going out on a field trip to the garden again, and we'll do something new this time. So this story is called Growing Vegetable Soup. Did you know you could grow vegetables? Yes. Did you know you could grow soup? Oh, I don't know. I've never thought of that before. So here we go. Let's see how it's done. Growing vegetable soup. Growing vegetable soup. Dad says we're going to grow vegetable soup. We're ready to work, and our tools are ready too. So at the end of their long handles, there is a rake, a shovel, and a hoe. We are planting the seeds. So they're wearing their gloves. There's a package of seeds right here. The brown part at the bottom is the soil. If you make little holes and put the seeds in them, and then you cover them up, and they're in the ground. So this is a green bean seed, a pea seed, a corn seed, a zucchini squash seed. And do you see those little teeny tiny dots? Those are the carrot seeds. Do you remember when we went on the field trip to my garden and I showed you my awesome carrots that were growing, and I just loved how green and all the ferny parts were coming out of the ground? Those carrot seeds really are teeny tiny like that. And that's why when I plant them, sometimes I get a lot in the row, and then the little tiny carrots grow up. And remember I said that they weren't going to get bigger because I don't pick enough of them out of the middle because I'm just so excited that they grew. So that's because the seeds are little and you tend to get a lot of them in there. So I did pick a bunch of those carrots and give them a little more room to grow. We're going to see if I can get the rest that are in there to get a little bit bigger. And all the sprouts, so you can start a plant by a seed, or you can put the seed in a little pot and grow it, or you can go to the store where they sell things like this and you can buy some that somebody else has already started from a seed. So on our field trip last week, I showed you the tomato plants that Mr. Real and I had already planted. We didn't start with seeds from those. We just put them in the ground recently. But I have some other ones that we couldn't get the plants for, so I have seed and we're going to start that. So here's a tomato plant. This is a broccoli plant. You can start potatoes from actual potatoes. You can make onions out of real onions. This is a pepper plant and a cabbage plant. This little shovel is called a trowel. I have one, mine is red handled with a shiny part. It helps you dig the right size holes when you're planting the sprouted seeds already in the ground. And then you must give them lots of water. Look at these seeds. There's a tomato plant, the potato, the green bean, the carrots, the cabbage, the peppers, the zucchini, the peas, the onions, the broccoli, and the corn. Watering can gives water. Some of my places to grow vegetables have little tubes where the water drips out and waters them on a regular schedule. Other plants have to wait for me to come out and use my hose and my little soaker sprayer to water them. And waiting for warm sun to make them grow. So the things that we need are soil, water, and sun. That's what plants need to grow. So here our seeds have sprouted. Our other plants are getting bigger. And they each have a little marker so that you don't forget what you've planted, because sometimes when they start growing, they all look the same. They're kind of green leafy things. And they're growing. And they're getting flowers on them because they're going to make the fruit that we want, or the vegetables that we want. And they grow into plants. So our peas have climbed up this stick, and there's some yarn or string so that they can grow onto there, and they grow peas. And our zucchini squash is flowering. Whoops, sorry guys. Our 30 minutes is not up. That's not our 2-minute warning. Our zucchini squash has flowered. There's a bud there and a full blossom here. And that's where the fruit or the squash is going to start growing from. So that's where the zucchini is going to come out. We watch over them and weed. Here's broccoli. Broccoli has a worm eating it. Take him off. Green beans. They're calling this a hand grubber. I also have one of those that helps you rake up the soil and break up the weeds without hurting. You have to go around the plants so you don't hurt them. Until the vegetables are ready for us to pick. Now we have tomatoes on our tomato plant, and peppers on our pepper plant, and corn on our corn plant. And here's a basket. I had my basket last week that I was collecting all our lettuce in. Or some we have, those were the tops, or sometimes the middles, or if we're digging up the bottoms, then here's the carrots that get nice and big when you space them out. So sometimes you have to use a bigger tool. This is called a spading fork. So carrots, potatoes, they live in the dirt underneath. They are the bottoms of the plants. And carry them home. Then we wash them. So here's a cabbage and some onions. And cut them and put them in a pot of water. So here's our knife. There's green beans, cabbage, peppers, broccoli, potatoes, peas, tomatoes, squash, corn, onions, carrots. I think I got them all. And cook them into vegetable soup. So did we grow vegetable soup? They certainly did. At last, it's time to eat it all up. It was the best soup ever. Dot, 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 meaning we're not done. And we can grow it again next year. Nice. And the good thing about a lot of those vegetables is each plant will give you a lot of vegetables. So you can do it over and over and over again. And you don't always have to wait till next year. So we just grew some vegetable soup. I didn't know you could grow soup in a garden, but basically you can if you have all the right parts and pieces. So guys, that was my story for this week, but I will see you again shortly on a field trip out to the garden again. Talk to you soon.